YouTube? This is cflfanatic. Here are my friend Ryan, my friend Ben, and this is the 2007 Grey Cup. The Saskatchewan Roughriders won it 2 years ago against Winnipeg, 23-19. And obviously, of course, this Sunday, it's going to happen again. Now, yesterday we talked a little bit about offense. We're going to talk about some defense today. So we'll get to some defensive stats here. Now, Saskatchewan's offense is very strong, but they definitely have their work cut out for them. Let's talk about first downs first. Montreal is in first defensively.
One of many first.
Yes. 313 first downs allowed versus Saskatchewan, who's in fifth with 365 allowed. So,
which is a big difference. It's a huge difference in first down.
Yeah. Now, first downs doesn't seem like an important stat, but it is big because you got to get those first downs to keep that ball moving.
Yep.
So, you know,
it looks about like the difference between Montreal and Saskatchewan is 2.2 first downs each game.
That's right.
Which is huge because that can be a drive. That can be an entire drive
for a touchdown.
For a touchdown.
It's very important. Now let's talk about the fewest total offensive yards allowed. Montreal is once again in first, allowing 5,330 offensive yards on the entire season, versus Saskatchewan, who is in fourth, allowing 6,362. So almost 1,000 more yards on offense.
Now that's a big number.
So Saskatchewan obviously down a little bit. Ben,
they're gonna have to pick it up if they're gonna get anywhere.
Yes.
That's about 50 yards per game.
Especially against a team like Montreal, though. You can't allow those types of yards.
No, you cannot.
All right. Average offensive yards per game, usually around 350 for teams. Montreal is in first, allowing an average of 296 yards per game. Saskatchewan, once again, in fourth, allowing 353 yards per game.
Yep.
So that could turn out to be an interesting stat.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just an average, though. It all depends on how well a team is playing. All right, per game, this is the fewest rushing yards allowed per game. Montreal in first, 75.
Wow.
Rushing yards allowed.
That's almost unheard of.
Game. An average of 75.1. Saskatchewan down in seventh with 123.8, but keep in mind Montreal is most likely using their backup. They most likely do not have Avon Coburn as a weapon. So Saskatchewan does have a weak rushing D, but
that's against the top running backs, which Montreal no longer has.
That's right. So
and last week against Joffrey Reynolds, they did not do well.
No.
The whole year against Joffrey Reynolds.
Well,
their defense against the rushing has been lacking this year.
Yeah, but Joffrey Reynolds has had an outstanding season. So, all right, and we also want to talk about passing yards. The fewest passing yards per game. Montreal, who would have thunk it? They're in first again.
First again.
With an average of 245 yards passing per game.
Now we have to look at this. The difference between Montreal and Saskatchewan is four yards a game.
Yes, Montreal is in first with 245. Saskatchewan in fourth with 249.
So that means separating that's first really and fourth is only 4 yards per game.
I think that's really close.
Yeah, I think Toronto's in between those two, and they got like 247. So
who cares about Toronto?
I hate those Argos.
No, they're not my favorite team.
Clearly not. All right. Now, most interceptions. This could be big. Montreal is in second place. Winnipeg actually has that first honor with 31. Yeah. Montreal in second with 24 interceptions. Saskatchewan in fifth with 18. So a difference of 6 interceptions. Not huge, but
remember, that's 33% of Saskatchewan's total.
Yes, definitely. So, you know, Saskatchewan definitely needs to get those interceptions. And obviously, anytime you have a turnover, huge.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially in the Grey Cup.
Yes. Well, in any game, really. All right. Average points allowed per game. This is an important stat. Montreal is in first, allowing an average of 18 points per game.
That's it.
That's great.
That is it. Saskatchewan is in fourth, allowing 26.9, so about 27 points per game.
Nine points.
If we go by average, the final score of the Grey Cup will be 27-18 for Montreal.
But if we go by the average.
If we go by the average, it all depends on how you play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's an interesting stat. Most quarterback sacks. Montreal is in second in this. BC had first. But Montreal has had 42 sacks. Saskatchewan, though, right behind them in third place with 39
That's
sacks.
really important. It depends on which team can get up get the QB sacked before the other team.
Right.
Yeah. But unfortunately for Saskatchewan, Montreal has an outstanding O-line.
Yes.
Yes.
But maybe not quite as much, though. Here's an interesting stat. Montreal was actually rushed the most. Calvillo was rushed the most out of any quarterback.
Yep.
But, you hardly notice these rushes because he just gets that ball away so fast.
Yeah.
But, especially for Saskatchewan, getting to Calvillo will be very important. But you may not have a whole lot of success. So Saskatchewan might be better to put a few more guys back.
Yep.
Maybe not rush with as much. Maybe just
agree.
a standard four-man rush.
Yeah.
Yes.
Try to avoid.
Because one of Calvillo's strengths is getting the ball away very quickly.
Yeah, I think Calvillo is very easy. And Calvillo has proven himself that he's great, but he cannot run.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you can drop back your DBs and get them covering all those receivers, then you could have some success.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, one last stat. We'll talk about fewest touchdowns. Montreal is in first again with 29 touchdowns allowed on the season.
Yep.
Saskatchewan in sixth place with 42 allowed on the season. So that could prove to be interesting.
Yep. It's quite a difference in numbers.
Yes.
But we'll see how it plays out in the
That's
Grey
right.
Cup.
All right, let's talk about some interesting and some notable players on defense. Why don't we talk a little bit about Stevie Baggs on that Saskatchewan D-line?
Wow. Big year.
Yes, definitely.
The most breakout player of this whole season for any team.
Yeah.
He has been great. Period. Full stop.
That's right. I want to talk a bit about Montreal, though. I know we have some differing opinions on
very different.
on
opinions.
Chip Cox. I'll give mine first, though. Chip Cox is a pretty good defensive back.
Yes.
He plays his position pretty well. I think obviously he's a very physical player, and I think that he gets away with more than he probably should. I think he should get flagged a little bit more than he does.
Yes.
Now, okay, I do agree that he does play a very physical game, and he does oftentimes get in the receiver's face, but I don't think that he should be called as much as you say he should be.
Well, I don't know. I think
some of the games I've watched, there have been calls that should have been there should have been calls on him, but besides this fact that sometimes he needs to be toned down a bit, he's always in the play. I've never not seen him in a play. It's just one example that he's being a bit offensive in the pass coverage, but he's always, whenever I see a run, he's always there. He's always there helping out.
True.
And I think even if he tones down his pass coverage, he's still going to be a player they have to watch out for.
Well, he's a very intense player, and you need that level of intensity when you're going into
I think so.
a game as big as the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
So I think that's about all we're going to talk about on D. For those of you watching on YouTube, I will be uploading another video tomorrow. We'll be talking a bit about the special teams and about the coaching staff. So stay tuned tomorrow, and I will see you on Sunday.